Thank you all for joining us. We are the Timepiece Gentlemen, brand new to YouTube, creating our very first video. You guys are seeing it right here for the very first time. We definitely appreciate the time that you guys are taking to watch this video. If you see anything that you guys like, please leave a like. If you have any comments, if you want to engage with us, we love that kind of thing. And we always ask that if you enjoy the content to subscribe. I'm one of the hosts. My name is Daniel, and I am here with one of my good friends,
Michael.
All right. And again, we're the Timepiece Gentlemen, brand new to YouTube. Definitely appreciate your guys' time. Michael, what are we going to be doing today?
Okay, so today we got some pretty exciting stuff. We basically categorized 5 different tiers of watches, starting with kind of the realistic ones to very unrealistic. So our categories here today are going to be the daily drivers, the show-off, the special occasion, the inheritance, and the dream category. We might throw in an honorable mention here or there.
Alrighty, I like it. We got a good spread going on. We're going to talk about some of our favorite watches, different stuff like that. Now, the audience is going to ask, who's our fluffy friend?
I think we're going with Timepiece Tesla.
Timepiece Tesla. Love it. Love it. Yes, we are joined by Timepiece Tesla. That's kind of a tongue twister there.
It is. You might hear her nails clacking along. We're working.
She'll be popping in and out if you guys see us over here playing with her ears and stuff like that. Definitely puppy friendly here on this channel. But yeah, so we've got 5 categories plus an honorable mention. Why don't you kick us off?
Sounds good. So to start off is going to be our daily driver. Daniel,
all right.
What do you have for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So daily driver for me, I've got to go with the Longines Zulu Time and 39 millimeter. Just an absolute perfect watch. It's a GMT function, so you get the multifunctionality, being able to see different time zones. The particular variant, which we'll throw up on the screen for you guys, is going to be the green dial. It has this Fotina look to it, so it's got green. It has the gold hour markers, stuff like that. Stainless steel, of course. The bracelet's really nice. And it is also chronometer certified, so it's going to keep time very well. It has all the things that you want from a luxury piece without necessarily breaking the bank. This is at about $3,000 right now is where I can find it. You can get it secondhand for a little bit less than that. All in all, very solid watch. Now, if I have to point out some things that I don't necessarily like about the watch, the bezel, to my knowledge, is going to be aluminum. To me, I'm spending $3,000. I should be paying for premium materials. I have a Tissot dive watch at home that has ceramic. That's a more luxury material, so to speak. And the date function on this watch doesn't click over at exactly 12. So those are some super nitpicky things, but all in all, for a daily driver, couldn't complain.
Fair enough. I feel like with the $3,000 price range, it could be a little nitpicky. So I think that's all fairly within reason.
Absolutely.
My daily driver is, so I'm going with the Hamilton, from the Khaki Navy collection here, the Below Zero, the Auto Limited Edition. It's inspired from Christopher Nolan's sci-fi action film Tenet. And overall, I just love the look of this watch. It has this really rugged kind of titanium case, and it's almost militaristic when it comes to it. It's very subtle in the look. It's black on black on black, and it's one of those watches that will overall go unnoticed for a daily driver is what I'm shooting for. But at the same time too, if you know watches, this one will stand out too.
Absolutely. And it has this like industrial look to it, right? Like you said, black on black for sure. But then there's that accent on the second hand. It just pops out. You get the red signature thing for Hamilton to do, right? Red second hands tip there. Just a phenomenal piece for sure. Looks good on the wrist. Black on black, you can't complain with that. And it looks like it has some timer function to it as well. And what price point is that at again?
Yeah, so for this one, I'm looking at about $2,000.
Oh, there we
is
go.
what the going rate on HamiltonWatch.com is.
Yeah, that's not bad at all for a pretty solid timepiece, especially coming from Hamilton, very well known, very well versed in the industry, so to speak. That's a great watch. Yeah, absolutely. Good choice on the daily driver there. Now, I am curious though. So you got your daily driver, right? Hamilton, great brand. What are you going to be showing off to people though?
Oh man, that's gonna be a Tudor for me.
Ooh, okay.
So, if you can't tell, this is my right hand. I'm actually left-handed, so it's kind of difficult for me to find watches that fit my left-handedness, or in this case, my right-handedness. And so for me, I'm just a huge fan of Tudor. Very, very high quality. You can't go wrong with the Tudor at the end of the day, right? And so I'm going with the Pelagos, the LHD, the left-handed edition, basically. Just has this very clean, kind of commanding look to it. It's a ceramic matte black disc titanium bracelet. So it's rugged. It's something that I can take out and not be worried about scratches, about
Absolutely.
anything going wrong with it. And knowing the Tudor brand, it's one that will definitely stand out on your wrist.
Yeah, absolutely, man. One of the unique characteristics to me is the date window. It is red, which I think kind of really just kind of pops out on it. And it has the red accent on it too, right? Tudor with their signature snowflake hands. And one of the interesting things that you pointed out too is that it has a ceramic disc. Tudor, for the most part, has always stuck to aluminum, but it's refreshing to see them move to a little bit more of a premium material. And then also, it being a right-handed watch for a left-handed individual is extremely unique. It is so hard to find high-quality timepieces that are able to be worn on the right wrist. So that's, yeah, definitely agree with all of that. Titanium, can't complain with that. That's super light. You won't even notice that it's there.
Nope, super comfortable to wear.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, we've had the opportunity to hold and see a titanium Tudor. What were your, and I can't remember if it was the Pelagos or not, but what were your initial thoughts with that?
It was the Pelagos, and it was, first of all, just kind of taken aback with how light it actually felt. Mm-hmm. I think you were telling me a story about a watch that you got to hold that was, if it was the real version of it, would have retailed for over $100,000. And then the second you felt it, it's like, something's not quite right on this. I can't say that was the same with the Tudor. It definitely feels light, but it at the same time too, it feels right in terms. It feels like it belongs, that weight to it. You can tell that everything is made with such precision, with the highest of quality of materials, that you can't mistake it for what it is at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Well, very well put, because it's funny that you brought that story up, because one of my watches that I have on the docket for today, we'll talk about it for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I held this watch and I'm thinking to myself, man, this is the most amazing timepiece I've ever seen in person. And he hands it to me, which is the first red flag. But yeah, it was the weight was way off. It felt cheap, didn't feel good. Nothing on the watch was correct at all. But when we looked at the titanium Tudor, phenomenal. There's just something different about it. It's just well built. Everything feels crisp. All the everything's etched properly. Has a nice edge to it. Just feels good in the hand, even though it's extremely light, which is just awesome. A lot of people will associate weight with quality, and that's not necessarily true when you're talking about titanium. But man, Tudor, they just kind of nailed it.
100%. Totally nailed it with this one. That makes me curious. What's your show-off watch?
Yeah. So my show-off watch, not quite a Tudor, right around the same kind of
price point?
Maybe not price point, but luxury brand. And it's a brand that a lot of people know. Not a lot of people know Tudor. Tudor is kind of the sister brand of Rolex. But a lot of people know Omega. And so my show-off piece is going to be the Omega Aquaterra, specifically their green dial. It to me, it's a great dress watch, right? Something that can fly under the radar if you don't know anything about watches. But when you get a look at it, the pointed indices, the cuts in the dial, that deep green, almost gray in certain areas, and it just plays with the light very well. Dial is just absolutely phenomenal. You're getting something from Omega. They're trusted. They know what they're doing. They've been in the game for quite a while here. And its price point, of course, is above the Tudor. We're looking at about $6,000. But it's just, you're getting a lot of watch for the money. Very beautifully designed. Has their coaxial escapement, so super, super accurate, sapphire, all that stuff that you would want in a watch. And definitely something that I would show off and wear to like a nice occasion.
Very well put. Very well put.
Absolutely.
Yeah, completely agree. I was close. I almost picked the Omega. I was very close to looking at the Omega Seamaster.
Gotcha.
Just Omega has something about it. It carries the weight. I think James Bond when I think Omega personally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're synonymous with James Bond for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So that was our show off category. What are you wearing to a wedding?
Ooh.
Your wedding. Special occasions.
Oh my goodness. So my wedding, special occasions, stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I want to show off, right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I want to show off just a little bit. Set some status, show off, kind of be a little flashy without going over the top. And so for me, like a special occasion, if it is my wedding, I got to go back to Tudor on this one, right?
Okay.
Tudor nails it. They just do so much good. And for me, I got to go with the Black Bay Chrono that they have, specifically the S&G model, which is their steel and gold. It just looks good. It's a good watch. It's at a good price point. Again, right around that $6,000 mark. You're getting all the things that you want. A chronograph, we haven't mentioned complications or anything like that, but I mean, at the end of the day, a chronograph is a stopwatch, but you get more functionality with the watch, right? Not only does it tell time, not only does it tell the date, but now you're able to actually time events that are happening, be able to coordinate stuff and do those extra things with it. This being kind of from the Rolex brand, it has a tachometer, so you can actually measure how fast things are moving, like cars and racing and that kind of thing. So that's where this comes from. One of the unique things about this dial too is that they have the new logo, which is their shield, and then on the crown they have their original logo. So it's like kind of tying everything together. On the crown, it's a rose. I'll try to get a better picture of it for our viewers, but that's kind of what it looks like right there.
Okay.
So it's this older style. They have their heritage in it. The little rivets on the bracelet are a callback to their heritage as well. It's just a phenomenal watch. Again, it's $6,000, but you're getting so much more than the Omega. You're getting a precious metal out of it, and it's has all the same certifications and everything like that. And the movement in this watch is actually made by Breitling.
Really?
Yeah. So
interesting.
Breitling makes the base movement, and then Tudor will come and kind of modify it a little bit. And they claim it's in-house. That's kind of a point of contingency for some folks. But it is a Breitling movement inside of a Tudor, and it's right around the same price point as some of the other Breitlings in that category.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something to that stainless steel gold combo that really stands out on the wrist quite a bit. You did get a chance to see this one in person, didn't you, recently?
Oh, I did. Again, at the same time that we saw the Pelagos, right, in
yes.
titanium. I was just in awe. It's you dream about a watch, you look into the watch, you do a bunch of research into it, never thinking that you're actually going to be able to hold one, right? We're not talking about a small amount of money here, right? $6,000-$7,000. But being able to actually see the Tudor in person, being able to hold it, just makes it so much makes it feel more obtainable, so a goal to work towards, if you will. And I don't know, it's one of those watches that I want to treat myself to, and I actually have the opportunity to do so.
It's the type of watch that inspires the creation of a YouTube channel, some might say.
That's
in the
true.
hopes that maybe one day we'll be able to actually hold these in person.
That's right, and we need viewers just like you guys, right? Like, honestly, if you guys like the content, please like it. If you have any comments or anything like that, let us know, and we always appreciate subscriptions and all of that. We want to provide more of this content to you guys, which kind of leads us into what's yours, man? What's your special occasion?
Okay.
Maybe every now and then you'll bust it out.
So, a little bit of background on myself. I ride motorcycles, and specifically, I like the kind of modern classic look. I have a Triumph Bonneville, and so I was doing some research, and you just mentioned Breitlings. Right? Was it the movement that was made?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that Tudor watch has a Breitling movement. So I specifically picked here. It's the for my special occasions watch. It's the Breitling Top Time B01 Triumph.
Ooh.
And it just has this beautiful. What would you call that color?
Man, it's like a baby blue, but then it has the gray, kind of darker blue. Ice blue is what comes to mind.
Ice blue. There we go. That's a good way to put it. And it just has this gorgeous ice blue color that really pops. You can see the Triumph logo at kind of the bottom center there, and it just screams classic. It screams timeless, and it's everything that you would want in a special occasions watch. It pops. It's got that leather strap. You can dress it up. You can dress it down. You can do what you want with it, and that's really what I'm looking for when it comes to this price point of about $8,000.
Yeah, absolutely. $8,000. You want something nice, right? You're spending a good chunk of change towards something. The dial is extremely interesting, right? The hour markers. You have black, of course. The sub-seconds and the sub-dials that are on the watch and stuff like that, they have this kind of square but rounded square shape to them. Is that a drawback to like the design of the motorcycle at all, or does that tie into it at all?
That's a great question. It might on certain models of the Triumph, but it doesn't on my Bonneville. My Bonneville is pretty kind of retro circular looking.
Gotcha. It really brings some interest. If someone sees you watching that, they're gonna look at it, right? Yeah. They're gonna be like, "What is that?" And the color of the dial is striking. It's not something you see every day. A lot of people will talk about the Tiffany dial, which is the turquoise kind of dial that a lot of the high end pieces.
This isn't quite that,
right? It's unique, very unique. It being in a chronograph too, that's just like. And that's such a timeless design with the pushers and everything like that. Almost kind of a piston design to them, which is kind of unique to motorcycles, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys can't tell, Daniel's definitely the one that knows a lot more about watches than myself. It's something that I've dabbled in for over the last couple of years, but I've never quite had the group of friends to support it. And now I think he's taking me down a very dark path.
I'm a nerd when it comes to watches.
Yeah.
Right. It's something that I've always been interested in. My dad had a lot of watches. Kind of showed me that interest. My older brother, I remember when he got his first automatic movement. The camera's shutting off right now. Honorable mentions? Do you have any?
Do you want to talk inheritance first or honorable mentions?
Ooh. Inheritance, yeah. If you got a large sum of money, one of your family members, gave you some money after their passing, what would you do with that?
Okay. Well, first I would cry, and then I'd buy myself a. This is where the big dollars come in. It's got to be a Rolex.
Oh,
I think if you're passing something down generational, Rolex just has that name.
Absolutely.
They've been around forever. They're going to be around forever. So Specifically, I'm looking at the Cosmograph Daytona.
Nice, absolutely. So the specific model, and again, we'll throw these up for you guys. We're looking at kind of their gray dial, black ceramic, but on their Oyster Flex bracelet. I think is what they call that anyhow. What can you tell me about it? What appeals? What brings you to that watch? I guess is a better way of saying that.
Yeah. So a couple things. I'm not really big with the kind of. That's not quite a true white dial. I'd call that. It's almost like an off white a little bit. It might be a true. I might just be how the light's kind of refracting off of it, but I'm not much for that color. But for some reason, it just fits with this model. It's just a very nice watch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very nice watch. Classic timepiece. Rolex, man, they do it better than anyone else. They've nailed it with the Daytona. At that particular price point, 32,000 roughly. You're getting a lot for that. You are getting a precious metal, right? It's 18 karat white gold. Kind of a sleeper. A lot of people will get white gold. Again, it's a precious metal by all means. Like, it's going to hold its value. It's Rolex by all means. It's probably going to gain value. But it being an 18 karat white gold, everyone's going to think, oh, that's just a run of the mill. Unless they know what they're looking at, they're not really going to understand that you have a $30,000 watch on your wrist.
Yeah. I think a lot of what captures my attention to this is the fact that I like to typically wear darker colored clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And so as with my very first watch, I like to trend towards the darker watches as well. However, with this one, I feel like that would add just such a really neat contrast with my kind of darker attire on average that it would really pop, and it's one that would definitely not go unnoticed when it's worn on my wrist.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. Well put. Yeah. Can't go wrong with the Rolly. So if I were to come into a large sum of money due to untimely passing of a relative of mine, definitely would cry first, right? Mourn their death. But then I would definitely go and get myself a Rolex, just like you, right? A Daytona, same thing that you're going for there. I would like to get the Platinum Daytona, which has this really, really nice ice blue dial. And then the bezel on the outside is actually kind of a brown. It's a chocolate bezel.
Yeah, it almost looks black initially, but then upon almost closer inspection, it's chocolate.
Absolutely.
Brown. I didn't pick that up until you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, you really got to study it a little bit more to see it. And earlier we had mentioned someone handing me a Fugazi watch, right? If you watched Donnie Brasco, a fake Rolex. I ran into this guy at a little bar that I was at, and I look over at his wrist, and it looks like he's wearing this watch right here. So I snap my neck, and I'm like, oh my goodness, are you wearing that right now? And he's like, oh, no, this is a fake. This is you can look at the dial. It says Seiko on it. However, my friend has the real watch, and he's here. I'm like, no way, right? Walk up to his friend, and I'm like talking to him a little bit about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is, $130,000 watch that you're wearing on your wrist. That's amazing. I've never seen one in person. This guy immediately starts taking it off and hands it to me like it's nothing, right? He's just like, here you go. First red flag, right? I go to pick up the watch.
After checking to see if anybody's looking for
they're
your
like,
escape.
Where's my exit at? And when I hand this to you, right, that has a little bit of weight to it, right? It's not platinum, though.
No.
Right? If it's platinum, it should weigh like a brick. It should be super heavy. His watch weighed less than this. Way less than this. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the bracelet. Rolex does some fancy things where they have different fonts and stuff, and I'm like, everything about this watch is bad. It's a bad fake. I didn't want to tell him, So I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you for letting me see the watch. But I was like, there's no way. If it was platinum, this thing should, like, when I grab it, hit the ground, because I'm like not expecting how heavy it is.
What's the price point of this?
So again, it's $130,000 currently, and that's not. Well, actually, this website has it for $115,000, so you might as well jump on it right now.
We're talking some big bucks there. You don't just hand that to a stranger.
No, $100,000. Goodness, that's half of a house these days. You know,
Half of a house. Yeah.
It's not a small amount of money. It's more than what most people make in 2 years of working, and it's ridiculous that he just handed that to me, and I was flabbergasted because I was thinking, oh, what an opportunity! This is amazing. And then I had it in my hand, and I was like, this sucks.
The disappointment.
Yeah, I was like,
the betrayal.
I went from like, oh, this is so cool, and then he handed it to me, and I was like, oh, this is really nice. Yeah.
There you go. I don't want it anymore.
There you go. Thank you for letting me check that out. And he was like, yeah, man, no problem. Like, I can get you one of these watches for about $300. And I was like, all right, we're good here.
Sure you can. Yeah.
Not a real one. You know, and yeah. So I haven't actually seen this in person. I have seen a Daytona in person, but not this one. This is above and beyond what Rolex does. So, absolutely.
Now we got our honorable mentions, I suppose.
Honorable mentions, absolutely.
So I feel like that one, well, your inheritance watch was a little bit unreasonable, but I know where your priorities are. This is where I start to get fairly unreasonable. So my honorable mention here is going to be the Jacob & Co.
Oh.
The Astronomia Solar Planets. So I first found out about this watch watching Joe Rogan, and I don't remember who the speaker was, but I remember they pulled up the image on the watch, and I have this, ever since I was a little kid, I've had this fascination for outer space. And so I looked at this, and the way that they have the planetary system, how everything moves and turns and just so perfectly synchronized, the level of detail when you're looking at the Earth, just completely astounded me. It's like a globe on your wrist, and the whole thing is made out of sapphire. So we're talking durable. We're talking we can wear that, and it's not going to scratch. And we're talking the price point of $350,000.
Casually.
So
that's some of that Joe Rogan Spotify podcast money.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful watch. There's no debating that. The craftsmanship that Jacob puts into his watches is just out of this world. This dude has major gems in that watch, right? Topaz, he has freaking, like you said, the sapphire crystal alone, I think, takes like 6 months for them to make because they have to hand grind it down. Otherwise, it'll crack on its own. You have a tourbillon that's spinning at 60 seconds. Like, they've just done a lot of phenomenal stuff with that.
Could you imagine that? Just spending all your time and effort for 6 months just getting something to be so perfect. And then some rich dude just walks in and, oh, thanks. Here's my credit card.
Oh, goodness. I mean, you put so much time and effort into it, you want it to be shown. If I ever saw one of these in person, I'd just be floored, right? Yeah, Jacob & Co., they're on one. They're on a whole other plane compared to anything else because they just do so many unique things with their watches.
The timepiece keeping element of this watch is almost secondary to the level of art and craftsmanship that went into making this. Engineering alone,
yeah,
just mind blowing. So check it out for sure. Check it out.
Absolutely. Watch a video of it running. It's a show on your wrist. It is going to get someone's attention for sure. Just a phenomenal piece, by all means. Now, my honorable mention, not $300,000.
Okay.
I'm actually wearing a version of my honorable mention. I'll kind of hold it up to the camera. You guys won't really be able to see it, but This is my Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. Brand new run, right? Absolutely phenomenal watch. The one that I particularly wear is in my favorite color, which is green. And I really love how this dial almost changes colors, right? One of the things that you mentioned to me before, you're like, I thought it was black. Mm-hmm. And then I step outside and all of a sudden it's this deep emerald green color. I kind of always think of this as the poor man's Royal Oak, so to speak. It has that waffle cone dial, just like the Royal Oaks and stuff. But my honorable mention is the ice blue dial of this one. I think the ice blue just elevates it to a whole nother level. It just makes the watch look so much more than what it actually is. We're talking a $650 watch, right? It's not expensive by any means. Certainly not
it's value for your money.
Absolutely. It's a great watch. Very comfortable on the wrist. Definitely something that I wear frequently. One of my favorite watches in my collection by all means. So that is definitely my honorable mention. But now we're going to go into a whole nother category, right? If money's not a concern, right? Now, I understand you brought up the Jacob & Co. as an honorable mention, but what would be your dream watch? Something that you're like, this is what I want to achieve.
My dream watch from a company that I can barely pronounce the name of, Audemars Piguet. It's going AP, as it's more easily known as. It's the I'm looking at the Royal Oak Offshore, the Grand Complication. It's so fancy. It doesn't even tell you a price. It says price on request. You got to talk to the sales rep to get the price. Go figure. So I just love the way that they explain this watch. They call it black magic at the height of horlogerie. I don't even know what that means.
Horology.
That's not horology. That's horology. I don't even know what word that is.
Horology is.
No, that's not horology.
That's horology. That's the study of time, or timekeeping, rather.
Well, in this case, they just misspelled it.
Probably. Yeah, no, that's a beautiful watch. There's so much going on with that watch, right? There's a lot to it. You got the skeleton dial. It's telling, not only is it telling the time, right? Every watch tells the time. And then this one is also telling you the date, by all means. And then month, the year, the leap year, the moon phase, the chronograph on it. It also has a minute repeater. It's got so many different complications in it that are just out of this world.
Yes.
I believe it retails at $80,000. I could be wrong, but I know on the secondary market it's like $230,000.
So this retails at $1 million.
$1 million?
$1 million.
Oh my god.
Money is not an object at this point. Like this is like,
jeez. Bro, I want those problems. Can you imagine spending? Not even spending. At that point, you're not spending money. Let's be honest here. You're not spending money. You're like, fuck it. It's $1 million.
Yeah. I want it. I got it.
Oh goodness. Yeah, that's a lot of watch, man. It's big though.
Mm-hmm.
It is so big.
It is big, and it's a little ambitious for me. The price point for sure, but also the fact that I have the world's smallest wrist. All right. What is your dream watch? And is it more reasonably priced than mine?
Define reasonable, because it's still a lot of money, but it's not $1 million.
Something that you can achieve in this lifetime, realistically speaking. This one I know I can't.
If I grind and I work hard and I save every penny for...
And you eat your chicken, rice, and broccoli.
Mind my P's and Q's. Don't get in trouble. Maybe. I can obtain this. But there's a lot of reasons why I like this watch, right? And I'll go ahead and name it right now. But it's the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Perpetual Calendar in rose gold. Brand new watch. Oh, dude. The rose gold, Can't complain, right? But this has one of the most unique dials I've ever seen. It's got this super deep blue kind of ocean, and it does this weird gradient where it goes from basically black to super light blue, but it just speaks royalty to me. It's shiny, it's loud, it's got a lot going on the dial, right? Again, yours has way more complications than this guy does, but you have an annual calendar, a perpetual calendar. You know what month it is, what week it is, what day it is. And then you can tell if it's a leap year, you can tell what the moon phase is, all of that stuff, day of the week, just like I was saying. And it's insane what day it is, that kind of stuff. But it's a really nice watch. It doesn't have the chronograph feature that yours does, of course, but man, it's just a beautiful watch. My one critique: you're spending $100,000. This watch comes on a rubber strap, which kind of bothers me. Anything that comes on rubber, I feel like is plastic for some reason. I don't know. I haven't. Maybe Vacheron has special rubber. It's a unique watch.
Yeah.
Definitely my dream watch. Like if I had this, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah.
But that's my one critique. I always have to have a critique on every watch that I look at, and that's kind of the beauty of looking into watches. It's just learning more about what you like, what you don't like, what you would prefer, what you would even do different if you were designing this watch, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can get this watch on a bracelet. The particular model that we're looking at is on the rubber strap. It's in this deep blue, has kind of a checkered design to it. It's a butterfly clasp, all of that stuff that you want. But yeah, I'd rather it be on a bracelet, or maybe even leather. I think leather's more premium than a rubber strap.
I think I would agree with that. This watch, it does have an element to it that you can know absolutely nothing about watches. You see that on somebody's wrist, you know that guy's got some type of status.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And that's a lot of what I like about wearing a watch, especially, obviously YouTube isn't the way that we make money currently. But I enjoy the confidence that comes with it.